Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome to an Ecosystem ACES Pro Panel session, December 12th. So excited to get going. People are still gathering, and so I'm gonna step back out again for a minute and let everybody join, and we'll give it 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I'm Chip Rogers, Chief Partner Officer at WorkSpan, and really so excited to have this great session teed up for today. So Kelly Lear from Thomson Reuters, Brian Christian from Beamery, and Rob Spee from Beyond Trust, all just amazing partner leaders in those organizations. And we're going to have a great topic on the view from the top, managing a global partner program successfully. So we have some great topics to talk about, and we'll get started in just a minute. So thanks everybody for joining. We have some great logos and folks that have signed up and registered to join. Say hi, tell us where you're joining from, and look forward to having you be a part of this. A couple of housekeeping items. Add your photo in the platform. We'll be asking. You can ask questions, and when you ask questions, I'll put the question up on the screen, and it'll show your picture. And love to have you do that. Introduce yourself. Let us know where you're joining from. Ask questions. You can go ahead and just ask questions right in the chat. We'll be tracking that, and I will bring up those questions either along the way or maybe towards the end. But if we see something interesting, we'll hop in and ask your question. Finally, the stage tab is where you're going to participate today. So that's where everything's happening, and you can pop right in there. So I want to share a couple of assets that might be really interesting relative to this topic. We have unlocking cloud marketplace success. I think that's a really interesting blog published recently. Another one on automating partner lifecycle management, and so check that out. And finally, the ecosystem maturity model is I think just a really great help on kind of figuring out where you are in the process, where you are today, where you're heading, and go for. Oh, I see Katie joined, Dustin, a lot of good friends joining here. So yeah, check out these assets. We'll post the links in the chat also, but you can scan it with the QR code as well. So. Before we get started, I'm just really excited about, we just launched something recently for WorkSpan, a little bit of background on that. We just launched the WorkSpan Hyperscaler Edition, and it's really all parts of managing your hyperscaler engagement. So everything from planning and reporting to getting your marketplace listing implemented and managed throughout the life cycle. And then co-selling, co-sell automation, managing all of your co-sell, connecting right into your CRM with the hyperscaler cloud provider, so AWS, Microsoft, and Google. And then managing private offers through the process. So enterprise deals, you're closing deals on private offers, and the solution is built right into Salesforce, so your AEs can manage their private offers, build, clone old ones, build multiple versions, make sure that you see when the offer's been accepted, and go right into launch. So to kind of the full life cycle of managing that whole process. So everything from, again, list management, accessing your cloud spend. Accessing cloud spend is just a huge benefit to everybody, because the customers have, the cloud provider customers have pre-allocated dollars for cloud spend, because they get discounts. So they say, okay, this year I'm going to spend this much money. You're able to actually sell your solution, and your customers can access that money to, if your line of business maybe doesn't have the budget to buy your software, you can actually help your sales team close business with cloud spend, as long as it's listed in the marketplace. Make sure you own your own listing, critical thing, and that you own it. You're responsible for the whole thing. Scalable co-sell automation. Make sure that you're able to really grow your co-selling with the cloud providers, and just keep improving through the process. And then managing private offers. So pricing agility, being able to price everything the way that you need, with specific terms and pricing, and all of that can be built right in. And making sure that you're meeting the marketplace requirements. So why do you do all this? This is the sort of fun slide of one of our customers. We have a bunch of customers that all kind of look like this. So for a long time, they were sort of kind of bumping along, I guess, managing everything through a manual process, and it's very difficult. This one actually happens to be with AWS, but similar experience with all three cloud providers. As soon as you turn on that automation, one of the challenges with working with cloud providers is getting their attention, getting this field's attention. So you turn on automation, you start sending your referrals over, and over time you see this, getting to parity, right? Where you're getting as many referrals coming back from the cloud provider as you're sending over. And so just dramatic change when you're automating those processes. And by the way, AWS and really all three are getting to the point where they're requiring automation, mandating automation in order to take advantage of some specific programs. So if not now, it's going to happen soon. Get connected and make sure that you can grow those your referrals. WorkSpan is the leader. Over $50 billion in joint pipeline being managed on WorkSpan. 154,000. It's actually more than this. Across all three hyperscalers is about 250,000 co-sell referrals being managed on WorkSpan. So check it out, and I'd love to talk with you if you're interested, and a lot of happy customers. So with that, I think we will jump into today's session. So I'm going to bring you guys in. Kelly and Rob, welcome, guys.
Hey, Chip.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. This is going to be fantastic. I'll just do a quick introduction for each of you. Kelly Lear is just a fantastic partner leader, managing all partners all partner activities at Thomson Reuters. And Kelly, you had the entire program. I know you sort of worked your way through the ranks, but now I think over 10 years at Thomson Reuters and leading the whole thing. So Kelly, welcome.
Thanks. I really appreciate being here and being with my esteemed colleagues here as well. I had a chance, Chip, last week to be in New York City with the Women of Channel East discussions, which was so incredible. There were like over 2,000 women in tech there and in channel in particular. So pretty exciting to talk to all those folks.
That was a great event. Gosh, my LinkedIn feed was full of posts and pictures and all of the activities and festivities in New York, and that was a great event. So, and Brian Christian, VP of Partnerships and Programs at Beamery, which is and Brian, you and I knew each other at SAP. You were with SAP for a long time, managing business development for the SAP store, and now you've switched sides and gone to an big SAP partner at Beamery.
I have enjoyed our friendship through the years, Chip. Yes, and WorkSpan as well. Brian Christian. I've had a pretty good tenure over at SAP, now outside of SAP, helping software companies like Beamery become successful in that ecosystem. I've especially enjoyed all of our different conversations that we've had around the topics of what we're talking about today, and how software vendors can leverage the ecosystems around it to be able to become even more successful. So looking forward to diving into the material. Awesome.
Fantastic. And finally, Rob Spee. Rob, just really great to have you aboard here. And you have your own podcast as well. And we just recently did a session with Asher Matthew at Partnership Leaders, and you're in a really interesting position. You're kind of transforming the partner organization. I know you've been with Beyond Trust for a couple of years, but going through a big transformation. And I just, in fact, last week spoke with Jeff Matten, who heads up operations for Partner Ops for you, and he's doing the mechanics of making all these changes. So that was a really interesting conversation as well. So Rob, welcome. Glad you can join us.
Thanks, Chip. Great to join you from Alpharetta, Georgia. I see we've got Nick from Atlanta, so we've got at least one local here. But yeah, making great progress at Beyond Trust. I was hired by our CRO to transform from channel to ecosystems, so it's been a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot, and I also learn how little I know too. Despite being in the channel forever, there's still so much to learn. It's just ever changing.
True. It's really true. So true. Well, fantastic. Okay, so let's jump into our topics. We were going to talk about really, I think, start at the top and talk about, we'd love to hear from everybody. Does your CEO and C-suite see partnerships as a critical element of your company strategy? So not just sort of as a side benefit, but really helping to drive the organization and strategy. Who wants to jump in first on that one?
I can jump in.
Ladies first.
Really give it a shot.
Ladies first.
All right, I'll jump in. I think ours at Thomson Reuters, our C-suite and leadership teams are most definitely pushing forward the ecosystem play and partnerships and alliances team overall. I think that our leadership teams believe that mastering ecosystems is really is really key to our strategic value creation. And we're in such a dynamic environment, as we all know, So you really need to be able to get there. And we've got the role of governance becoming a key differentiator as well, to see who's going to win or lose from that ecosystem game. I think when we first started our partnership play, we didn't have as many kind of facets of the organization all on board yet, because it was a new muscle and a new motion for us. But our strategic leaders were there in terms of knowing that it was the direction that we all needed to go. And so we've got our C-suite, our CEO, our presidents across the business, as well as our board governance is over our channel strategy. We've made it kind of a key growth pillar for our organization. And so to that end, we are investing in our people. We've started our team somewhere around 8 folks or so, like several years ago, where we really got strategic with our partnership plays. And now we're a team of over 45 folks in just the P&A team, or partnerships and alliances. And now we're investing really overall in our ecosystem in different ways. So that includes a product strategy with API and open ecosystem architecture. It includes a marketplace strategy, which I know we're going to dig into a little bit today, both other people's marketplaces as well as our own at Thomson Reuters. We have channel enablement and marketing functions, and then key business teams to support our go-to-market. That includes like payment processing and royalties, metric tracking, and other core functions to really operationalize and scale our partnerships. So hopefully that gives you a little sense of how much the organization is behind this strategy and how we really think it is a growth pillar for Thomson Reuters overall.
That's fantastic. So 45 folks in the team, and that's across a lot of different kinds of services and technology partners. And you talk about APIs, so you're really I can see that it's a real robust program.
Yeah, thanks. It's really multifaceted in terms of the structure, so that we can support it from a product, a support, a go-to-market, and then all the enabling and operations functions within the business, which is, as I'm sure my gentlemen colleagues on here can attest to, that's usually the growing pains of any organization. And we're pretty global, so those things can have their own challenges, and we're acquisitive in our history as well. So you have different systems that are coming into play to go to market as well.
Awesome. Brian, your thoughts?
I concur. And same thing goes kind of, for me. I mean, my conversations, C-level around partner Beamery specifically is, with the founder level, with the CRO, with the CMO, with the leaders within that organization that are driving towards those KPIs as an overall team individually, but together as well. So it's definitely a huge topic. I mean, I read things just externally too from my organization on how much more focus younger companies are looking at what they're doing on the partner side of the fence versus just doing direct sales motions. So, but overall, this is giving them a lot of things to take into their organization as positives. Access to new markets, whether that be on a regional basis or a segment of the market, going upstream and things like that. Some of it's accelerated growth. I mean, we know as it goes that partner organizations are able to deliver by metrics, larger deals and in a faster period of time that some of these organizations can make on their own. So overall, my interactions with my leadership at Beamery and plenty of the other founders that I stay in contact with that are circling around the SAP ecosystem at least, have a huge C-level buy-in to what they're doing with their partner plan, from all levels. Sales, marketing, product, go to market, integrations and the SI side of the fence. I mean, all of these things are being taken into account on how they're building out their overall organization and what they're focused on. Right.
And your Beamery is a SAP Solution Extension partner, so that's a
it's
critical,
an SAP Endure solution, yeah.
Endorse app, yeah. So that's a really tight, connection into SAP and the SAP field and all that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if skipping forward to a couple questions down the road, who we're going to get into, but yeah, we'll it's definitely a value add. I'll go into that question.
Yeah. Fantastic. Rob.
Yeah, Chip, I don't think any partnering strategy initiative is going to be successful unless you have CEO and full C-suite, alignment on that strategy. Mine started before I even joined the company. I was recruited by the CRO, had interviews with the CEO and a board member, just asking me about my thoughts about the ecosystem and what we might be able to do together. It does, though, require, I think, a continuous series and sequences of education and alignment with the C-suite, because as we keep pushing the envelope on the ecosystem, not everyone really fully understands the implications of that across the company and the implications on the type of support we need, from system support to professional services support and enablement support, finance, legal, everything across the board. So I'm constantly in contact with the C-suite and the various members of the executive leadership team to make sure we're aligned, to make sure we're getting the support we need, and make sure they're getting the benefits of the ecosystem across the company. So yeah, that alignment, that support is just critical.
Couldn't agree more. I think it really does need to be, in order for partner organizations to be successful. It needs to, I've been having these podcasts for the last 5 years, and one of the themes that sort of comes through, I think, every conversation is how cross-functional partnering is. And you just went through the list, Rob. It's like everything from building products, right? What's our product roadmap? What's the ecosystem roadmap? What's going to market? Co-marketing, co-selling, and then managing services, right? So it's as a partner leader, you have to be responsible for all those areas. You have to touch all those parts of the business and the leadership support.
You do, and you have to make sure that it's just wasn't some shiny object that they invested in at one point in time. And they made a great investment in me and the team. We doubled the team, similar to the Kelly size, about 40 folks. But then if you look at the expanded team, we've got maybe another 40 people outside of my team that are also supporting us. So that's a huge investment. And I have to keep demonstrating the power and benefits of the ecosystem and financial return on that ecosystem. And as you evolve to an ecosystem strategy, that's a challenge. The old metrics don't tell the whole story.
Yeah, and actually, I'd love to jump in there if you don't mind, Chip.
Kelly, I see you nodding.
Rob is,
Seriously.
sharing some great nuggets there. I think that we should all be thinking about. I do think as you grow your program and as you get the buy-in throughout all levels of the organization, and your program evolves over time, you have to keep educating all levels of the organization. And also, I think there's different perceptions of various parts of your program. So we have technology partners of different flavors, and we also have consulting partners of different flavors. And all of those are bringing different types of value to the organization. And, folks that aren't in channel can sometimes think, oh, how many leads did they bring us? And that's how they see your value only. So, there's different things we have to kind of educate our leaders and all levels of the organization, whether it's reps on the ground and others, what is the true value of channel? And it's much more than just the inbound leads. We all want those. But, the other things that we're bringing to the table that are really surrounding our customers, extending the value that we can bring to our customers, accelerating the ROI to those customers on the ground. So all those other things that are not as easy to measure as an inbound lead, maybe.
So true.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in that, like, and I mean, you saw on that chart earlier, it's like there's a lot of give to get, right? You got to really you got to sort of prime the pump to work with, get partners excited to work with you, and then that's reciprocation just starts to happen naturally.
Chip, I use the maturity curve that you mentioned, the ecosystem maturity curve, to try to tell that story. Because it's not just about how many leads did the partner bring me. There's so much more. And you mentioned products, product innovation, which is what the ecosystem can drive. So I go back to that chart constantly when I'm talking to folks in the organization across different departments and say, hey, look, here's where we are on the maturity model. Here's where we're going. This is ultimately the value that this ecosystem is going to bring us.
That's great. I'm glad it could be helpful.
Very helpful.
Yeah. So let's jump to another topic. The next topic we wanted to talk about is how do you, and we're kind of alluding to it anyway, but let's talk specifically about how do you make sure that the partner organization, partner programs, and the activities that your teams are doing are aligned to company goals. And that which again is helping to provide, like, that you've got to do that in order to show and demonstrate the value that you're bringing. So, who would like to jump in on that topic?
I think it's Brian's turn.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
always
Right,
default to
Brian.
ladies first, but sure. Yeah. So when I look at just take Beamery for instance, and I look at the different groups and within the org and each of their goals, it's always based on the outcome, right? To figure out what is the outcome that we're actually all trying to achieve, and then looking at how we're aligning from the beginning to that. So, what of our again specific partnering goals related to marketing. It could be, lead gen is always the easiest one to look at, right? But there's so much more to that than just that. Sales is obviously conversion of opportunity, and then being able to realize the value at what a partner organization can bring into them. So, it's not just the introduction, it's the fostering of relationships throughout an entire sales cycle with multiple different partners attached to it, to be able to bring in the end result, which is a team effort of selling a solution in the best interest of their customer. On top of that, it's looking at from a product standpoint and figuring out, are we truly addressing the needs of the market through that product? So, is our product addressable into the broader, larger enterprise, or is it just in mid-market? And then being able to reverse engineer, like, what are our goals with our product team, and with that partnering out to these other organizations that we can work with, like SAP, like Oracle, like Workday, et cetera, et cetera. So on top of that is looking at, are we addressing what we need to accomplish from each of the segments, the customer segments that we can engage with. So.
Yeah, product roadmap is always an interesting, challenge. I don't know if Brian, if you've seen, challenges with, like, the sort of white space, or competition kinds of challenges.
Yeah, I mean, every platform has a team focused on so much to build, right? And so when it comes from an ISV or independent software vendor looking into trying to sell into that customer base, for example, SAP and Oracle, let's say 450,000 customers on each side of the fence, and you try to look at the type of products that you're developing, you want to look at it in, going back to that partner and org goals, you want to be able to take that information and what they're doing product wise, come together on that goal. Like how are we addressing this customer base, 450,000, let's say, in that large enterprise platform customer base, that be developing the correct direction to be able to address the needs of that customer. So,
yeah,
without getting into specifics.
Rob?
Yeah, I look at it from different levels. So we have, if you look at the corporate level, really what the CEO is pushing and driving Beyond Trust, and we're transitioning from more of an on-prem business to a SaaS business. So one of our top goals is, hey, we've got to become a modern SaaS-first company, and we're really transitioning a lot of things, systems and processes and products to the SaaS methodology, go-to-market strategy. We have, of course, ARR growth objectives, net retention objectives, those types of things. So I want to make sure that our ecosystem of strategy aligns to the overall corporate objectives, but then that also each department has objectives aligned to that. So if we look at our product objectives, and our goal is to really help protect organizations against cyber threats through identity security. So how can we advance that and accelerate innovation through the ecosystem? We recently launched an identity platform. So what are all the different integration points and ways that partners our ecosystem partners can innovate on that platform? We look at our marketing strategy aligned to the corporate goals. How does our ecosystem support that strategy? So I look at the corporate level, make sure I'm aligned there, and then all the functional leads, what strategies they're developing. Customer success, what's that strategy? How do we support that through partner success, for example? So as long as I'm aligned at the corporate level and department level, then I'm doing okay. And I have to keep checking, as we advance and introduce new things, are we still aligned? And you got to really watch this out. It's not just the beginning of the year. It's almost monthly or weekly that, hey, let's make sure we're not moving out of alignment here.
That's great. Love that. Kelly.
Yeah, so I'm in alignment with what these two gentlemen have shared as well. We do tie our partner program goals to our key OKRs for the business and kind of drill it in from there. It's OKRs and also like solid metrics across the business. And so one thing I would share too that we've done is we looked at, done a lot of research on best in class channel companies like the Microsofts and Salesforce of the world that have built out these great ecosystems and channels which span like 90% or plus of their overall sales and revenue growth for the organization. So it's considered like a percentage of the business. And so we've done a similar thing. We started out significantly smaller, but we're striving to get to 40 to 50% across every business and product line. So we kind of take a top down and then a bottom up build of our plan. And for some lines of business, we are at 90% plus with influence through partners or really solid partner channel plays. And for others, we went from like 0 to 17 or 18%. And now this year looking at like 30+%. So this is pretty exciting for us as an organization as we grow our partner program. But really key, I think, is that we build our financial forecast as a percentage of the overall plan of the business. And then we collaborate with the business on the top down and then a bottoms up view of the plan so that we can hold ourselves a bit accountable as to which programs are working really well and which ones do we need to accelerate better and how can we pivot when there's any sort of risk throughout the year. As we all know, if you've got a pretty robust partner channel, some are going to be exceeding expectations and some are going to need a little bit more love. So we keep a pretty close lens on that throughout the year.
I like how you mentioned, sorry, I really like.
No, go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, how you mentioned the benchmarking. I think that's so important because, insiders may not listen to us all the time as they're even though we're the designated channel chief, but still having that outside influence and other metrics that you can bring in from best of class research reports, all of that. I find that helps a lot to say, it's not just me telling you this, there are others that are doing this.
That's right. Spot on. And then I think I know there might be another question on metrics, but I know one of the things we look at are key metrics out there overall, and then we look at how are things working, if we do things alone, and what are those metrics versus when we do things with partner. And those metrics are very different. And so we like to try to share those as well.
That is interesting. It is. I mean, I think across as a benchmark, right, across many organizations, you see higher win rates, faster time to close, larger deal size. Kelly, are you seeing those with?
Yes, spot on.
with
So yeah, when we, for example, when we do like a webinar like this, when we do our thought leadership panel or anything like that, when we do those on our own, we do really well. But we might get anywhere from 3 to 9% higher registration and lift through doing those with our partners. And then our conversion ratios from attendee to lead to op are significantly greater. Those are typically 5 times greater. So pretty exciting kind of metrics to see when you have those, channel plays.
Similar with you, Rob and Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
This morning I did a global team call and I asked for people to just share successes from the year, doing kind of an end of the year special. And our partner manager down in Brazil was mentioning doing an event with 3 partners. We had 2 technology alliance partners and a really big reseller for us down there. And just fantastic results. Doing an event with 3 partners versus 1, really that trifecta ecosystem approach, just exponential return on that, and just much higher leads and partner opportunities being generated out of that. So yeah, it's so important, as Kelly said, to compare kind of with and without the ecosystem.
Yeah, we're trying to do more of that, Rob, as well, like the triangulating. That's even much better than just the power of 2. We're going power of 3 or 4. So pretty exciting because we integrate our products into the ERP plays. So we have the SAP integration, the Oracle integration, and others. But we might also be having global SIs that are implementing our products. So you're bringing the value of the services providers plus the tech providers and even hyperscalers to the mix.
Yep, exactly.
That's great. Well, we've been talking about, goals and aligning goals to the company. Let's talk sort of internal to the partner organization itself. You're all managing global, partner organizations. Any things that, and Rob, you just talked about your end of year, getting the team together globally for a sort of end of year recap. Any things that you found that have been really helpful to help manage an organization like that?
Yeah, we've been transitioning really the role. In fact, we're going to change the title on January 1st of our channel account managers to partner managers. And that just represents the change from managing a transactional channel to much more of a broader sort of orchestrator of the ecosystem, custodian of the ecosystem in their region. And we've been trying to train them and get them to do new things. One of the things we had to look at is what's consuming your time. And it was just a lot of administrative overhead and busy work. So we stripped that and gave a lot of it to the distributor, let them do it. We fixed some of the channel ops and systems issues that were causing that. So we're always looking for ways to free up time for our partner managers to be more effective in growing this ecosystem. We also brought in outsiders to do some training on different partner types, different business models. We're going to do some more at kickoff in January with more business acumen training and business plan training. So there's a lot of work that we're doing there to help elevate the team in their skill set to really manage an ecosystem effectively. They've also got to be able to coach the sales team and sellers on how to leverage these different partner types and get engaged and get used to being working with 4 different partners on the same opportunity, all offering different types of value. And that's where you get such huge return. It's that triangulation that Kelly was talking about. But it takes some new skill sets to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, the partner team it's not a transactional environment. It's still the people business. This is still related to organization being able to have that level of connectivity between the partner organization and your sales organization, but expand off into the partners that you're partnering with as well and their sales organizations, et cetera from there. So having them understand what the true value is from partnering, especially on a sales standpoint, understanding that, it's not just from the lead gen in, it's really understanding the value added team and what each of those folks are going to bring to the table in order for them to help bring their sales cycle and their close a deal for the customer. You can go from, just take SAP alone. I mean, you could have a line of business salesperson, you can have a industry salesperson, you can have a global account director, you can have a customer success person, you can have someone for pre-sales, and you keep going on from there. And now you're just looking at, one group of folks that you're having a communication with. Now add another partner in from the SI, Accenture, Deloitte, go on from there, or regional SI, and you start expanding this. So having your, looking at it as a, building out, making sure you're connected, is that making sure your teams in each of the region understand what the partner team is there to support you to be successful from a sales organization, to meet their goals throughout the year. So.
Good one, Brian. Kelly?
Sure. I'll jump in here. So I think for us, for our global program, we've actually had an evolution over time. As I mentioned, we were a small group of very senior folks when we first started the partner organization. And now, as we've grown our overall partner ecosystem, we've carved out and changed our structure to accommodate the growth. And so we have a technology partner lead. So I head up all of our technology partnerships from very small to large global strategic, whether it's an ERP or a hyperscaler. And then I have a colleague that we've broken out into the consulting partner programs. And then we have basically we work together on go-to-market and triangulation, as we mentioned earlier in the call, where those things are going to, get much more accelerated overall. So we have split it up into kind of the go-to-market functions for those partner relationships. We also have kind of new partner vetting and onboarding, which is a separate function. To make us a little bit more efficient and effective. And we have pretty rigorous vetting processes that we work on with the business to do that. That's been very successful to get buy-in early on. And we still keep trying to get better at it because, those things come up throughout the year pretty quickly, and you want to get buy-in early on and education and see if it's a good move or win-win for everyone. But then we also have broken out enablement functions, which are so critical. Those are sales rep enablement functions, marketing enablement, product enablement, and others that have to happen both on your side as well as the partner side. And now we have some structure for our channel marketing. So they support us directly from the partnership and alliances team. And then we also have designated resources that are within the normal business marketing channel that collaborate closely with our partner marketing teams. And that's been really helpful, I think, to get better collaboration and also efficiencies across the business as you lean into each other more and more to drive marketing and go-to-market motions as well. And then lastly, we do have now some finance and commercial excellence, we call it, functions, which are a lot of our sales ops teams that support the business already. Now we have them supporting our partnership and channel, which has been a huge lift to us. I can't remember if it was Rob or Brian you mentioned earlier, operations. So it's always fun when you're trying to do all the channel and you're also trying to do all the operations behind it. Don't realize how much heavy lifting there is with certain types of partnerships in terms of operationalizing all the back office, whether you have to set up material codes and you have to do support and renewals and, royalty payments and all kinds of other fun stuff. So now we have some teams that help support us with that and automate those processes.
That's interesting. So you're sort of borrowing, or you're leveraging, or you're asking for help from is it the sales ops organization that's supporting?
Yep. It's sales ops. We call them commercial excellence. And it's been a huge help to us overall, because when we first started, partnerships and alliances, more structured program that was centralized up through my leader. It was very much each partner manager was doing their own, reporting and sales ops and finance and, everything, managing the partner, the go-to-market, the marketing strategy, everything. And so they still have to roll their sleeves up, but we have a lot of supporting teams. And now we're kind of integrating those a lot better into the business, as well as the representatives that we have through the P&A team.
It's awesome. That's a big help. You're right. It's a huge help.
Yeah.
We have a question here. It's a long question, but I think if I can, do the synopsis, it's basically, have any ideas from Nick? Thank you, Nick Lin-Rulon. Any best practices or ideas you've had on increasing partner engagement and satisfaction? I think it's just a really good question. Anybody want to dive in there? Anything that you've tried that's really worked?
I'm happy to take a first stab at it. So
Sure.
I stepped into a similar situation. We had over 1,000 partners, and when you have that many partners, if you're trying to treat them all equally, you're spread really thin, and you're not doing a good job with any of them. So part of it was really identifying who are our focus partners that we really want to invest in and really want to pay attention to, so that we could give them the proper attention and engagement, and get our sellers engaging more frequently, so there's more frequent engagement. Also educating people on the different partner types. You can't treat a GSI like a reseller, like a technology alliance partner. You really have to understand these are different business models. They expect different things from you. It's a different conversation. So educating our partner sellers, our partner managers on how to execute. Another thing we did is we were doing this massive annual partner survey. And we said, hey, this isn't frequent enough. Let's do a quarterly survey. So we do a quarterly NPS survey, and we'll have a couple questions. It's like, 5 minutes or less to answer this. So we're getting real-time feedback from the partners, and that's helping us to make incremental changes to the program, to how we operate, fixing things that are broken. And then we do one larger annual survey at the very end. But that's helped a lot. And over the course of the last, I think we've done it for 4 quarters, the NPS score keeps going up. So we think we're doing something right.
That's good.
So that's a good indicator.
Are the questions posed in a way, or is there sort of free-form feedback that's come back in to make adjustments to the program too?
Yeah, there's the classic NPS type of question, 1 out of 10. But then we do free-form questions, and it changes a little bit every quarter depending on where we think we need to focus and get information. We've asked questions about partner margins, about rep engagement, various areas where we know we might need to improve. And then they give the feedback, and then we can contact them and have that conversation to say, hey, what could we do better?
Love that.
Awesome. Brian, did you want to go next, or did you want me to jump in?
Please do.
So I, like Rob, we've done the NPS surveys for sure. And that's been really helpful, I think, to get a better understanding of what's going on. We also do, we've started inviting partners to our annual sales kickoff. So they're participating, and we do roundtables with them. And enablement sessions. At our user conference too, we the the partners that sponsor our user conference, we have a partner day, so that we can get good feedback from the partners in terms of how the programs are going, how are our abilities to, co-sponsor and other things go with them, and our go-to-market strategies. We've also done a new partner newsletter and a webinar each month. So we have a newsletter and a webinar. And believe it or not, you'd think those would go unread or unnoticed, but they are actually working really well, and we can track engagement. Yeah, so that's been going really well. And then the last thing I think we've done, other than doing video kind of training and enablement on, various products that we have, or vice versa on the partner side that we might be reselling, we do office hours. I think really, honestly, that's the best way to get real interaction with the sales teams on the ground. And our kind of middle tier layers that really need to understand what's happening with that partnership. They can bring questions. We have curated content for each one, just in case people are kind of shy and don't want to talk right away. And so we have different topics that we cover that we know, questions coming in from the field that we can cover, myths or challenges we're seeing on the ground. We'll have those kind of teed up as topics. And then what we do is we will actually dig in on objection handling or misunderstanding, other things, and really dig into those things. And one of my partners actually just shared a new product so that we can share more real-time content and videos, et cetera. Someone can text me. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what the product is, but it's been really neat. It's just an email opt-in. And you can share a bunch of things with your partners real time. So all of our office hours go through that platform now. It's been very helpful with our partners.
That's, the common theme
thread. Great question. Great discussion. But I think the common theme is communication.
That's right. Yep. And just sales enablement overall, and Brian and Rob, you can probably chime in here as well. That's always the big challenge, I think, with any organization, because everyone's got their own remits and they're busy and they have a quota and commission. And so you have to, I think it's constant communication, but in different ways, because different people learn things differently. Some folks hear and some folks don't hear. Some folks see, some don't. So we just try different creative ways to get people engaged there.
So we have about 7-8 minutes left. Let's talk about hyperscalers. How are you connecting with hyperscalers? Rob, I see you smiling.
Yeah, they're a big part of our strategy. Right now, we're on the Azure and AWS marketplaces with our BeyondTrust products. And the things that you were mentioning at the beginning, the opportunity for co-selling, the larger deal size that you can do, the buy downs of commits can have a huge impact in securing budget that you didn't think the customer had. So we've had really good early success.
That they didn't think they had.
That the buyer didn't think they had. Yeah, they suddenly realized, wait a second, we have a contract here and I can get money.
Yeah.
It's grown deals much larger. Our average deal size is probably 5x on the marketplace over our standard deals. So very, very powerful. We're still early days. We're not using it nearly to the degree that we could. I thought your stats on automation were really interesting, to drive higher co-selling. But there's so many benefits, the co-selling, the co-innovation that you can do, the funding that you can get out of it through their various programs. Yeah, I'm a huge proponent. It does create some interesting channel conflict from the distribution standpoint. We have a 2-tier strategy, so that's something I think the distributors and the hyperscalers have to figure out together. I know they're in talks, they're trying to figure it out, but that does create some interesting conversations.
We have not a question, but a comment from Joe. Thank you, Joe. Talking about communication, really critical. Yeah, especially with turnover internally and with partners. So I love that. Any other thoughts on?
I can share a couple things, but Brian, I didn't want to talk over Brian if you wanted to share anything first.
Yeah, I'd just say, one of our big focuses is the SAP store. So like the other marketplaces, it's got a couple different variances that from an organization they'd want to look at. And part of it's the partner progression and how you can leverage PDF, MDF, and connectivity to not only a sales field and their customers, but also the drivers for why they engage. So, in brevity, the SAP store has a compensation model for their account executives that help drive the sale of a solution from the SAP store into the customer base. So it's something a little unique. These are obviously focused on large enterprise type deals, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead, Kelly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries at all. And we do the same. When we first started with marketplaces, we had some fits and starts, believe it or not, and getting to learn really what the real value was and how we wanted to kind of make that happen. And so some of our key reps that did kind of lean into it early on and could easily explain the benefits to our customers, I think they took off, and then we kind of modeled that going forward. We do have, marketplace listings on all the big providers, Azure, AWS, OCI, and others, lots of others. And those have been going really well. But to the point that was made earlier, I think it's really neat where you can get some of those programs that help with Cloud Lift migration services. They might offer, quota and commission or heightened incentives. So a lot of them have kickers you buy through the marketplace. And then also it consolidates billing in some cases where they can get in procurement and IT groups like that. And we like to lean into those kinds of resources. And the reps are really good because they have such great contacts with IT and the office of the CFO typically. So we lean into those rep collaborations on the ground for our marketplace listings where we've got hyperscaler relationships that are really much more robust. And so those have been working really well with us. And then SAP, as you mentioned, Brian, we're doing the endorsed app status for a number of our products on there. So that should really accelerate because they have some really great incentive programs for their endorsed apps or premium status.
Yeah.
Chip, I think this is another area where it's not just a sales strategy; it becomes a company strategy.
Yep.
Because if I look at the impact it's having on our product development and innovation and integrations with the hyperscalers,
right?
That's super important. If I look at the marketing collaboration that we're doing, co-marketing, trifecta marketing, including the hyperscalers, it cuts across everything. Of course, finance is very interested in it, and what are the fees and what kind of return do we get on it? But we're seeing so much higher benefit than the fees that you get from it that it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and AWS just launched some huge price cuts.
Welcome. Very welcome price cuts.
Yeah, especially on the renewals. I think renewals now is 1.5%, which is phenomenal because that was always a sticking point. It's like, hey, I already why do I need to run this through? This is not a net new opportunity; it's a renewal. So really interesting.
Yeah, and I just one last comment from me. We are kicking up a marketplace of our own as well, and it's kind of an interesting new strategy for us because we think that there's some new models that will play well where we have, a lots more higher volume ability to, for content and technology and app plays than we would have had without it. And they're really good margins, we hope. So it should be a good play for us there as well.
Well, I'm looking at the time. We have one more question. We're going to talk about KPIs, but I think in order to be respectful of everybody's time, we can kind of wrap here. This has been fantastic. What a great panel. Thank you all.
It's like the year, Chip. It went by way too fast.
Yes.
No kidding. We're all jealous, Brian, of your Christmas tree back there. So getting ready for the holidays coming up here
Yeah.
really quick. So, well, thank you guys. This has been fantastic, and thank you all for joining us as well. And Kelly, Rob, Brian, just a great panel. Loved all of your thoughts and your ideas, sharing your ideas, and great questions. Some good questions coming in from the audience. And I think with that, I'll just say thank you for joining, and thanks for sharing.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Thanks all. Same here. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.